What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Clone Zone. I love that name so much.
It is such an awesome name. Like I said, I'm so mad that I didn't come up with it.
Molly gets all the credit for that name. We were trying to think of
it was a joke name.
I know, but that's why it's amazing. We were like the Pod Batch. We couldn't think of anything, and Molly was like Clone Zone, and I was like, "Stop! You've struck gold."
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
It just makes me think of Bone Zone, and I was like,
I
think that it just makes it more memorable. No one's gonna forget the Clone Zone.
Quit drilling, you struck oil.
Get ready to step into the Clone Zone. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So this is going to be our Bad Batch after show for the next 15 weeks, I guess. We're going to be talking about this show with various guests, and with us today from Broaxium are Dan and Chris. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up,
thanks
guys?
for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think this is it just worked out because we were talking about it right before the show. There are some comic issues that we want to discuss from this episode that Dan has some very strong opinions on, and Broaxium, they cover a lot of comics.
May need a little therapy after this, but it's all right.
I will try to offer it to you.
Yeah.
If you never watched our Mandalorian after show, the way this is going to work is we're going to talk amongst ourselves about the episode for 30 minutes or so. And then we're going to take some questions from all of you in the chat. If you want to, you can send a super chat in and get it in the queue, and we'll just go through them in order. But for now, let's just go around the room. Molly, what did you think of the first episode of The Bad Batch?
I thought it was good. It looked great. First of all, season 7 of the Clone Wars looked amazing, and this was right on par with that. And that almost took me out of the story a few times just because I was looking at all the detail and I was like, man, they really nailed it. But I have not read the Kanan comic, so I'm sure we'll get to the Kanan stuff. But I liked what I saw. In the beginning of the episode, I loved seeing Depa Billaba and how kind of like all that went down. I love Omega so much.
Yeah,
I want her Funko Pop. I want
that's coming.
I want all of her things, and she's adorable, and I love her. But yeah, this felt like a little mini movie to me, and I really loved it. It was like none of it really shocked me or surprised me. It was kind of like everything that I expected to happen happened. But going forward, I'm excited to see what comes next.
I fully agree with you. I was like, it exceeded my expectations, but pretty much played out the way I thought it would, and still did it in such a way that I thought was effective and emotional and exciting. And it still surprised me a couple times along the way. But Chris, how did you feel about the episode?
I had not so much expectations, but I didn't know where they were going to go with the series outside of tackling the whole Order 66 thing, which is like one of my favorite story points. And I love that, seeing that from like many different angles. I love this episode. And as a fan of Kanan, I'm looking right at you, Dan.
I can see you're looking great at me.
Of the Kanan comic, I don't mind a little retcon as long as it works. The galaxy is still what it is. But this it was so good. And Molly, like you said, it was like a mini movie. And the production value on this was just incredible. The voice acting from D. Bradley Baker and who else was
Don't forget D. Bradley Baker.
He was in it too. All fantastic. Loved it.
Hey, Boomstick. You can thank Boomstick for our lovely
logo, graphics.
Graphic, yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, I might as well find a trash can for these.
Real quick before we get to Dan, Red Tornado, thank you so much for the super chat. I did not say, but we are going to be talking full spoilers here. If you haven't watched the episode, I want to make sure people know that.
Also, we're going to get to all of your super chats in the last half of the
Yeah.
segment or whatever you want to call it.
Dan, what did you think of the episode? This is
No,
we can probably just segue from here into more discussion.
Yes, we can. But as my overall love for this episode, it was great. Like, it was I loved seeing the art come back. The Clone Wars art, amazing. I loved the feeling we were getting of the transition of Order 66, how the clones just flipped. Every one of them that had their inhibitor chip was just like, yeah, this is normal.
Yeah. And
these other dudes that didn't have their inhibitor chip flip, they're like, what is going on? What's in this soup? And it's really cool to get that vibe, seeing how 99 was handling all of that. And but the beginning, let's look, guys, listen, Molly, I am so happy that you got to see this without reading the comics, because it was a great scene. Like, it was an awesome scene. But when you and I really hope that this helps the sales of the Kanan issue 1 and 2, because it's really issue 1 and 2 that this whole first scene of Bad Batch takes place, and what they changed. And I really hope people buy the Kanan comic now, because the depth that they go in, Greg Wiseman, that he goes in, and the artist here, what's the artist? I'm sorry. But Pepe Larraz, the depth that they go into is amazing. It is it is so intense. I have to say, out of all of the Star Wars comic books, it was probably the most 2 intense issues I've ever read. I knew Kanan was going to live, but I didn't feel like he was gonna. Like, it was very intense, because you get this feeling of him hanging out with these clones. They're buddies, just like Rex and Snips and all of them. Like, you got that same vibe through these 2 comics, and you didn't get that at the beginning of this. Like, they were just kind of chilling. Kanan just came back. They were talking with the Bad Batch, and then all of a sudden it was just like, execute Order 66, and then
right. I think
it was cool.
They can still put all that stuff in there. It'll just be around that.
Right.
That's a massage story in there. That's all.
Yeah, that's basically. I did a video today. It's going to come out on Thursday. So if you're here, you're going to get all of this now. But it was basically me talking through my own emotions, because I had the same kind of oh, okay, they're just straight changing this. But yeah, I do think that the comic and the show can kind of work together. I always just try to take a step back from it and say, okay, let's take the details away, because it doesn't really matter what color Depa Balaba's lightsaber is.
It was green.
I don't
in
know.
The comic book.
For the life of me, I don't know why they would change that. It makes no sense to change that little detail. But if you step back and you just say, okay, Caleb and Depa Balaba went to the planet Caller, and that's where their clones turned on them, and Depa died protecting Caleb, and he escaped into the woods. All of that is still true.
If you break it down into those simplicities, Alex, yes.
And that's just, I try to remember that. So in my mind, Star Wars is, it's not an actual history. It's mythology. We're being told these stories like an oral history passed down from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And, in some tales, like a human and a Rhodian sit down in a bar, and we don't know who shot first. Some say the human did. Some say it was the Rhodian. All we know for sure is that Rhodian didn't get back up. And so it depends on who's telling the story, and it depends on what that story needs. So the Kanan comic absolutely needed the clones and their camaraderie, and it's perfect. That's not what the Bad Batch needed. I know it still doesn't fit together perfectly, and I wish that it did. I really do, but that's my own rationale and my just okay, well, this is just the best we can do.
You should be like a Star Wars therapist.
I learned from Joseph Scrimshaw.
Learn from the best.
I
did see someone earlier. I lost the comment. I had it pulled up. Mentioned Freddie Prinze Jr.'s voice. Can we address?
Yo.
Yeah.
Can we address the small human with the grown man's voice?
Yeah, I wish my voice sounded like that deep at 15, was it like 14, 15 years old? I wished. Oh,
I was just like, oh, they don't have that technology,
It's just
I guess.
Freddie.
Yeah.
They can't pitch his voice up a little bit.
yeah, like he tried. He tried. It seemed, I don't know, maybe it just didn't work with it. But
He's an early bloomer.
Yeah.
Master, no. I was just like, it took me out for just a second, and I was like, oh, interesting. They weren't going to change that at all. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely something I thought of too. I was like, oh,
Should have his voice crack a little bit, like
just like once.
Master.
Yeah. But
I guess if you're going to use Freddie Prinze Jr.'s voice, you don't,
he's
maybe
like, I want
mess
people
with
to
it.
know that's me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he brought him back, though. I thought it was a nice touch bringing him back to play that voice.
This is I feel like we're in for some real cool cameos from Rebels and the Clone Wars. It's going to be awesome. We're getting to see this transition, which is amazing. So, I mean, what if we get to see some Lasat? That would be awesome. But sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. If they played into like the genocide, I mean, they probably wouldn't go that far, but kind of skirt around it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then. Would you prefer it have been just a completely different set of Jedi, or do you like that in the end we do have this connective tissue between the Clone Wars and Rebels?
All right, I'll start. I do. I feel like they could have easily used another pair, but I understand the connection that Dave has to Kanan. It just, as a comic book reader, it's like I really hold on to these stories that we get, that we put the work in to all of this connective tissue that we find out there, and it's like, well, we can just change that at the snap of our fingers if we want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why did I read this? But I'm not like that. I get a little, like, at first I was very upset. I was like, why would you change that perfectly good story? But at the same time, your explanation was great. This was Dave's vision of how it should have been done, and this was the storyboard approved Wiseman edition. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. These are both great, and I feel like now the Kanan comic is going to get even more recognition because of this episode.
I mean, I totally feel you. Like they made this big announcement, 6 years ago, or maybe more than that, where it's like, yeah, there's a new canon and everything is going to count. And then it's like, well, does it? And I mean, I can say everything that I just said, and it's like, yeah, but like, why did you change your lightsaber color? That's the easiest thing to keep consistent. So there's absolutely an element of that. I can see your
dilemma, Alex. You're like, Star Wars explained. I got to explain this. How do I explain this to people?
But when it comes down to it, like, I love that comic, and the things that I love the most about it are the stuff with Gray and Styles, who unfortunately didn't appear in the show, but like, we were talking about this before, that if they had killed Gray off, and I made sure that they didn't in this show, but he has one of the best moments in Star Wars comics in issue 5. And I would be very upset if they had just killed him off. And it's like, well, how does that happen now? Right. Like, no, that would have.
When is your video on this coming out? Just to let anyone know what we're talking about, the difference between the Kanan comic and the beginning of this episode. Alex is going to have a video out on the channel tomorrow going more in depth on what the differences are.
Yeah, it'll come out Thursday.
Or Thursday, yeah.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, it's and it's all right. I mean, I heard that there were different levels of canon when I was looking at Wikipedia.
There were legends for sure.
Yeah, see, legends. We're not there anymore. But
yeah,
I don't want to keep complaining. I'm going to accept it. I want to just get past this.
I'm sure they knew, like, there would be some comic fans that were upset by this. But it's not. I do wonder what the percentage is. Like, how many people that watch the Bad Batch read that comic.
Mhm.
And I think they probably were just like, well, we're going to do it and we'll just deal with the people who get upset.
You know what? Dave knew that the truly faithful would, even the ones that read the comic, he's like, they're still gonna like it.
No, Dave was like, I'm gonna ruin Dan's day. You
That's what it's
specifically.
all about.
Yeah, yeah.
Pinpoint.
And you know what? It's just like shot in the heart kind of thing where I was like, this was one of my favorite series. You know, the Obi-Wan Anakin series is great, but this is definitely like the first two issues of this whole series are like some of my favorite Star Wars storytelling, because of how intense it was. You know, it gave a lot of emotion. So I mean, anybody who hasn't read this series, definitely go out and do yourself some justice and read it, because it's a great story.
I totally agree. And I think you're right that hopefully this encourages people to check out the comic, because it's absolutely still worth reading.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Wait,
Moving on.
did we do it?
Yeah, we did it. We're over. It's over.
Okay.
Well, okay, so one of the first things I noticed in this episode that it didn't really bother me, but I was like, okay. After Order 66 happens, Clone Force 99, and it's just like, oh, that's weird. Like, I would be like asking, like, what is Clone or Order 66? Like, what's happening? Why did you start killing Jedi? They're just kind of like, something weird's going on.
Yeah, like they have the basic details. They're like, they hear about Order 66 and they're like, what's that? I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, apparently the Jedi committed treason, and Crosshair seems to accept that.
Yeah.
Which
The rest of them kind of kept the
Oh,
whole thing at like
yeah.
arm's length. Like, okay, we'll see what's happening, but they didn't like react right away to all the Jedi killing that they saw.
Crosshair was just immediately like, all right, cool, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if for the rest of those clones, if that conditioning is going to happen over time throughout the series, or like, you know, I know it was slightly quick with Crosshair, but I wonder about the rest of them. Like, is that going to be something that maybe over the episodes they start to degrade into getting into that Order 66 mindset? You know,
It's a good point.
Oh, you mean the other members of the Bad Batch?
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
I just think it all depends on how much they were mutated. Like, it definitely, you know, we got to see at the end there that their mutation has inhibited the inhibitor chip in some sort of way. So I guess whoever's been altered the most, I think like the smart guy was probably going to be one of the last ones to start freaking out because he's so logical. Yeah.
Well,
I
guess
just assumed that like this wasn't happening to any of them, and Crosshair was just kind of already in kind of in that
kind of
mindset.
predisposed.
Yeah, and then
He was already the surly one.
Yeah.
didn't they take him in and like fix his chip at the end?
Oh yeah, they amplified it.
Yeah,
They like
turned
cranked it
loose
up
with
to
that
11.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So like I wasn't thinking that this would happen to the rest of them, but it'd be interesting if it did.
I think it's probably not, because we know Rex is in it, and Rex knows about the chips, and we know that by the time of Rebels, he has helped other clones take their chips out. So I've been saying that I really hope we get to see that play out through this series, is them going like, okay, well, this is happening to our brothers. They're not who they're supposed to be. We're going to go around and find them and help who we can. And we know they get Wolf and Gregor. I'd love to see them confront a bunch of other clones, because I don't think all of them are going to agree to have their chips removed. Like, I don't see Cody doing that. I feel like he would just
Unfortunately.
stay Imperial.
Yeah.
Also, I do think we're going to jump way to the end, but I think we're going to see Cut LaQuaine in the next episode, because they say, let's go to J19. That's where Seleucamai is.
Okay.
So I think they're going to immediately go to
Okay.
a clone who's maybe has his chip out already. Maybe Rex is there, or maybe he just like Order 66 went off in his head, but he's like, oh, no Jedi.
Well, there's nobody
all
around.
right.
I guess I'll just
Yeah.
keep being a family man.
So hopefully the Bad Batch get their chips removed.
Yeah.
I still wonder because in the comics, there's Scar Squadron, and they look so similar to Clone Force 99.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you have been. Yeah,
oh,
that's
man.
a good guess, but I just don't. That's so tragic, Chris. I don't
Yeah.
want that
Well,
to happen.
that's what. Like I've said it like 1,000 times, but like what story for anyone ends well post Clone Wars except for Palpatine?
I mean, they're already going to change the comic book story if they want to.
Oh my god!
I'm not bitter. But no, I think the clone, like the Scar Squadron and these guys are definitely similar. But
I mean, yeah, you have
they would be really.
you
old.
have the sniper, you have the big brawler, you've got the leader who isn't Hunter, but yeah, maybe Hunter's the only one that makes it out ultimately. But I don't want anything bad to happen to Wrecker. Say it ain't so, Chris.
I mean,
or what if they have some templates or something? Or they have their like genetic code and they can like make a more compliant Bad Batch, for the Empire with Creel at the head.
well, they
maybe.
could I mean, Crosshair is going to be the one to do it if he's going to activate any more of their inhibitor chips because he just had his amplified, so he's a problem right now. He could definitely. There could be some sort of handheld device that they could give him to make his brothers more compliant. Who knows? But I definitely feel like him getting his turned up to 11 is going to cause some problems for the others. And that's my guess.
I do like that they did the whole chip thing, because I mean, right when we saw in the trailers this like elite, we were joking. I should point out Hasbro was kind enough to send us a little care package, and I was joking before we even saw the episode. I was like, "Oh, they sent us 2 Crosshairs because it's the elite trooper and Crosshair."
Yeah,
it's like everyone was guessing that's who that would be, and they didn't play around with that. Their first episode, they're like, "Yeah, obviously."
right.
But I'm glad it had like the chip element to it, and that it wasn't just him straight like betraying his closest friends and brothers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead, Molly.
Oh, I was just going to say, I loved Tarkin in this episode. Steven Stanton did great as Tarkin, as per usual.
Yeah.
He was
effortlessly hateable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that we're seeing how they're going to phase out the clones.
Mm-hmm.
God, I hate that guy.
Well, it seems like it's even maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Well, I feel like after him seeing what the Bad Batch could do, he's kind of thinking like, like I wonder if we can take what they've already made and tweak all of them to be more like those guys.
But he's so gung-ho about loyalty, but yet he doesn't want to pay for it. And it's like,
he's like,
he's like, I'd
half
rather
the price.
take
I'm
some
like,
cell swords. Like, he's like, I'd rather just recruit some people from around the galaxy that are all like wanting, they have families and stuff to protect. Like, they don't care about the Empire. Buy yourself some soldiers there, Tarkin. Like, cough up the money. Jeez.
Well, I mean, that's my thing. Is like when you said like, yeah, we can have a conscripted army at half the cost. And I'm like, yeah, you get what you pay for.
That's exactly right.
Have fun with those stormtroopers.
None of them could hit the broadside of a barn. That's what you get. That's what you pay for.
I really like the kind of conflict they're setting up between Tarkin or the Empire and the Kaminoans. And I'm really hopeful. People have been asking for a while, like, do you think we're going to see a clone uprising, kind of like we had in Legends? And I'm like, that might happen. Like, I could see, because come on, ultimately the Kaminoans control the clones.
Yeah.
So I could see them flipping another switch on those chips.
Yeah,
and trying to get them to fight the Empire, and that's why they ultimately phase out the clones, which again would be tragic because I don't think it would end well. But
yeah,
we haven't. I'm just saying we haven't seen any evidence of any Kaminoans in sequel stuff. So I mean, It might get wiped out by the end of this season.
It might have been one of the tests for that space station they're working on.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they already started going behind the Empire's back with what they're doing with the Omega.
Uh-huh. Go ahead. Why don't you
Bust
dive
it out.
into that thought? Yeah.
I honestly believe if we're going by characteristics, you can tell that she is definitely a mixture of the Django template. And if you look at that hair, that's Sheev's hair. Like I think she's like, you know, one of those first tests to make the Palpatine clones that we'll see, you know, later on in Rise of Skywalker and stuff.
I was looking the whole
you
time.
were
I was
too
like,
busy being upset about the
I
comic
was.
book,
I
and you
was.
weren't paying attention to the rest of the show.
But I was paying attention to her because I thought to myself, I was like, her hair doesn't look anything like a girl Django hair might be. And then you just made it all like went off inside my head when you just said that. Her hair is definitely Palpa hair.
Palpa hair. It makes me wonder if they're going to do something like what they did with Mando, where like maybe not as soon as what they did with Grogu, but you know, we see that she's got some kind of force ability or something like that. Because there's definitely so much more to that character. So maybe she does have some kind of force ability or something.
She had that moment with Crosshair, like right before he gets taken out of that little jail cell, where she's kind of like, "I know what you're gonna do. Don't do it." I was like, "Huh, interesting."
Yeah,
I agree that I think there's some force sensitivity. Like, I don't want to say definitely yet, but yeah, she had a lot of insight in with Crosshair. And then before those doors open in the hangar, she turns around and she's like, oh, they're here. They're like, we got to go find Crosshair. And she's like, you're not going to have to look far. And then the doors open. So it's like, okay, she knows something's going on.
She's got some foresight. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'm not a Palpatine clone fan in any sense, but like I can kind of see it, and you know, I wouldn't mind.
Found him.
There it is.
There's one every time.
Omega is the power broker. Is also another one that I just saw that I laughed at.
Might as well.
I wouldn't mind it if they used this series to answer some of the more baffling questions about the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Just about the cloning stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, if she is a force-sensitive clone, Palpatine clone, whatever, and then it kind of makes sense that if she gets whisked away, rescued, or whatever, why in The Mandalorian they're starting back from square one and they can't figure it out, and they have all these like monsters in tubes.
Yeah. And they got loose hand, as we found out last week.
Yeah.
They're diving into so much of the clone stuff right now. Like we got it in the Mando, more of it with the Rise of Skywalker. This is I'm kind of liking it. At first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about it, but the way they're doing it is great, especially the hand in the Vader comic. That was awesome.
I'm iffy. I like clone troopers a lot. Love clone troopers, but whenever you start playing with cloning main characters too much, I'm like, settle down.
Yeah.
Well, you don't like Luke.
I wonder if there were, like, not to get off topic from Bad Batch, but I wonder if Palps has Luke's hand, and that's how he made Snoke.
That seems to be
like Snoke is the last.
Why he hates Skywalker so much.
That's the dominant theory I keep seeing thrown around, and my reaction is the same as Molly's.
Yeah, just like, do we want Snoke to be made literally from Luke's DNA?
Snoke Skywalker.
Doesn't that sound
making sense?
It's so Dragon Ball Z to me. It's like isn't it? It's like Cell, where it's like, I took Luke's DNA and I took Anakin's DNA and I shoved them together and made this monster, and like that wasn't even Snoke's final form.
Yeah, perfect Luke.
I will say they certainly could go there, and until they do, my headcanon is gonna not go there.
Until it's proven.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
But I definitely think she has to have maybe not all their abilities, but just some enhanced abilities of her own. and the force sensitivity is a possibility, but we'll see. But definitely through her hair, there it is.
And just remember,
There it is.
things we get in the comic books are just a great story until Dave Filoni gets his hands on it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
And the one thing
I
that
do want to point out. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just one thing, and this I felt this way in at Revenge of the Sith as well. You see the clones, and you know that they are allies at this point, like before Order 66 happens. And for some reason, when it clicks, even in their helmets, the clones look and seem different to me. I don't know if that's the same with you guys. And so, as soon as that happened, I was like, they just seemed different. Their demeanor was different. Like it just the helmet and everything. It just looked more sinister.
It's kind of like they all like straighten up and they're just like locked in, locked and loaded, ready to go.
All more robotic, yeah. I mean, that's definitely intentional. I was reading an interview with the animators, and they were like, "Yeah, we completely change how they stand and pose and move." So they're absolutely going for that. But I wanted to say about Omega, besides all of the clone potential, no matter who or what she winds up being, I love the character. I'm immediately endeared to her.
Absolutely.
I was watching her, there's multiple scenes where she just keeps mimicking Hunter. Like she's watching him and he tells Wrecker to hush and she does it. Yeah. And then he sits like this and she does it. And then they're running down the hall and he does this and she does it. And I'm like, I love her. She just wants to be a part of the team. I love the idea of this little girl character.
She's been stuck on this planet with all these aliens.
She's been stuck on this planet and she doesn't feel like she belongs with all the other clones. Right. And she looks up to the Bad Batch because they're different. And now she gets to be part of this team where they're we celebrate our differences. And it's so nice.
She does have her little droid friend, which I was kind of bummed that he didn't. Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe he gets to go with her, but no.
Why can't I think of where that droid is also
from the other Camino arc? Yeah, from the other Camino arc from
that's
Clone
right,
Wars.
Season 6. Okay. And as a trivia nerd, I cannot tell you the anxiety I felt when he started listing his name. I was like, stop, please. It's too many digits.
I loved her. I love Omega's expression. It was adorable when she's in the cockpit of the ship and she's seeing space for the first time. That just that was amazing. I thought
it's interesting seeing some of these things where Ezra has a very similar moment in the first episode of Star Wars Rebels, and a lot of these animated shows I feel like have the same beats early on because they are often for a new young Star Wars audience. I think the Bad Batch less so because it's they're going into this with the understanding that you watched the Clone Wars. We're literally burning away the Clone Wars logo and this is now the Bad Batch, but they don't have to do a whole lot of setup or introductions to characters because of the Clone Wars. And I think that really gives the episode a leg up. I think it's probably the strongest premiere of any Star Wars animated show.
Absolutely. And just how great this one episode is. And I forgot that it was going to be an hour long and it was getting so good. And I was like, when is this going to end? And I checked to see where the time was. I'm like, I still have half an hour to go. This is amazing.
Yeah, I was like, I had to watch it when I got home from work and then jump on with you guys. And I'm like, am I going to be able to have time to get a shower? So I made it all in good time. But yeah, I was so happy to see that it was a nice long episode and we get one on Friday.
Yeah.
So really cool.
I can only imagine where we're going from here, what we're going to see. Could they tie in anything from High Republic in any way? Maybe some Nihil remnant or something. Who knows? But I'm really excited to see where this show goes.
Yeah,
and I do still think it's going to end on a bad note. I'm sorry. It's Clone Wars related. It can end well. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
This is like entering into the peak of the Empire, where we saw how fast it went from Order 66 to the Empire already taking over and Tarkin being Tarkin. So, it's just a matter of time before we We get to see where the Empire, we might get to see some of the Death Star stuff. I think this might start, could tie into a little bit of Rogue One. Who knows?
Already has a bit. We haven't even talked about Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I saw someone in the chat bring him up. So does anyone have anything else they want to specifically mention before we dive into questions?
No.
Sorry, I am on
No.
the struggle bus today. My headphones died, so I missed what you guys were just talking about. Did we talk about where they're headed and who they're about to go visit?
No, but I saw that one in the chat as well. So
The Saw Gerrera thing,
Yeah.
real quick, before we dive into questions, is this guy doesn't trust any power, and he noticed it. He saw it and sniffed it out right away. He's like, they're just trying to take power. This has all been a sham, and he was ready for it. I love that little bit.
Yeah.
I loved his. You were asking like where we think this is going to go. I loved his line about the old ways are gone, either adapt or die. With the clones, the Bad Batch, their future is so uncertain right now. I really think it's going to be about adapting and how to adapt the right way, because it's like I should have seen Caleb being in this show, because I made the guess that Dryden Voss is going to be in the Bad Batch because they modeled him for like one shot in the Siege of Mandalore.
Right.
I'm like, no, he's going to come back. And they did the same thing with Caleb. He's in one shot and then they brought him back. So I think as mercenaries, they're going to get these jobs that are shady, and they're going to be like, well, do we take a job that we know is wrong, but we have to eat? So I think they're going to be presented with challenges like that.
Could this bring in Cad Bane?
I hope so somehow, just because we haven't seen him in so long.
Like, we need to know his fate. I know that there was a one of those animatronic scenes or something like that with him versus Obi-Wan. What am I saying? Boba Fett. I wonder if we're going to get some kind of closure on his character, or maybe we'll find that out in the War of the Bounty Hunters. Thanks again for doing the thing. But I hope that happens.
I do too. All right, let's dive into some questions. Matt Thornton, thanks so much. So we've had Anakin and Ahsoka, Kanan and Ezra, Mando and Grogu, and now Hunter and Omega. What's next? I want Hondo and a Jedi youngling. I mean, he kind of tried with Ezra.
You could be a Jedi pirate. I thought that was great.
Hondo could definitely make an appearance in one of these episodes.
I would be shocked if he didn't.
Right.
It's just
so you're the Bad Batch. Great.
Yeah. I mean, again, so people keep asking us, when do we think Hondo is going to pop up? And we're like, he can literally be anywhere.
Yeah.
He's alive this whole time. He can pop up in any era.
And apparently he loses his gang
everywhere.
in between. He loses his gang in between the end of Clone Wars and where we see him in Rebels. So maybe this is a part of it. Maybe Bad Batch is a part of that.
That's true.
Have
like
we
that.
heard anybody say the word Bad Batch? Like, have they been referred to as the Bad Batch in any
Sad
of the
Batch?
actual, like in the actual story? Because I
We
feel
did in
like
the Clone
Hondo would.
Wars.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if we heard them actually be called the Bad Batch besides the title of the show. So I could be like, Hondo could easily be the guy to just like say that, like, oh, you guys are such a bad batch. Just like as he's like ranting.
And then the title pops up.
It's like
It's got to be that same guy that named Solo, though. He's gonna somehow name them.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Webb, thank you so much for your question. Do we think Omega is force sensitive due to the fact that she was able to see Crosshair's anger? Something tells me she's force sensitive.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
There's something special about her, not just what her DNA looks like. I think there's more to it than that.
She's got a dash of midichlorians.
Yeah, just a sprinkle.
Just because this one just came in, do we think they'll meet Hondo?
I hope so. I really, really hope so.
I'm gonna stake my claim on yes, that will happen.
Yeah.
Any naysayers? Anyone want to go against that bet?
No, I mean, I'd be fine either way, but yeah, I think it's certainly possible to bring him in.
I think Dave Filoni always knows a way to cleverly bring in his treasures. And I think Hondo is definitely one of them.
Agreed.
He is a treasure.
Jared the Dark Jedi, thanks for your super chat. The bros with the
Jared.
Yeah.
The bros with the first family of Star Wars content creators just feels right. Much love from TNAP.
TNAP.
The Nerd Academy podcast.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Rai 1982, thanks for your question. Hey peeps, I loved the episode last night. I feel like Omega has a combination of all the enhanced powers of the Bad Batch. Interesting.
she's the
see
new
that.
hunter. He was kind of the leader, and now she's gonna be the leader.
I like the idea though that she has a little bit like super smart, super strong.
And she's a good shot. Her first time picking up the blaster, and she was picking them off.
That's true. That could also just be a little bit of force sensitivity, kismet kind of thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's.
Also,
I don't think that's a bad theory.
She shouldn't have been heavy enough to bust through the ceiling. Maybe she is like Wrecker and like
they're totally setting her up for sequel trilogy for live action stuff. I think she's gonna appear as an adult in some of the live action stuff.
That'd be cool.
Like season 3 of Mando.
Why would she just be here for the Bad Batch? And everyone loves her so much.
Or it doesn't end well, like I keep saying. I'm telling you.
Dave Filoni, you crafty man.
I mean, that people always want to jump to that. Like with the first time we met Ahsoka, it was like, well, she's not in Revenge of the Sith, so she's got to die. And the first time we met Kanan and Ezra, it was like, well, they got to be dead, and one of them did die.
We're half right.
Is the woman who does her voice acting, is she like also an in-person actor? Because if that is the case, then that
looked her up right afterwards. But she is, I know she's from New Zealand, but I don't know if she looks like at least anything like the character looks like. I don't think
they'd have to put her in a blonde wig, I guess.
A nice Palpatine wig.
Yeah.
Connor has a great question. Overall thoughts on Omega's inclusion as a foil for the Bad Batch? Like, is she going to? Is she there as like a plot to work against them?
I hope not. I would just keep twisting a knife.
Little force lightning.
I mean, they do need to do something, I feel, to make it different from The Mandalorian. Just because it's like, okay, we got a mercenary group, at least as a group, and they have to protect this special force-sensitive, probably, person. Yeah. Like,
hopefully a Jedi doesn't come and take her away.
Yeah. Baby Luke shows up.
I mean, yeah, it's 4 men and a baby.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Mark White is going to open up some old wounds here, but how are we to view publishing? High Republic wants us to take it seriously, but things we see on screen consistently undercut it. Loved the episode, though.
I think we should take it back to what you said, Alex, on how, if you want to break it down in, simple details, the story is pretty much the same from the comic, not like, the same in the details, but as in how, Order 66 happens, Depa Billaba and Caleb Dune were together. The clones turned against them, and Caleb got away. Depa got him out of there. That happened. In both stories. That happened. The details don't exactly line up, but you're getting two fables from two different people telling it. Whisper down the lane.
And the comics aren't consistently being taken for granted and knocked out. It happens all over the place. There was something, I think, in Catalyst where they took a storyline out of Catalyst, and
it was Greg. It was what's the Aftermath's Wendig's annual of Vader.
Okay,
that kind of contradicted something that Lyanna did. Like she knew about the Death Star before, but she didn't know about the Death Star.
Right. So I mean, there's a comics doing it to the books. The TV show will do it to the to the comics.
So I think doing like the canon timeline that I've done has helped me kind of just figure this out or see it in this kind of larger view. And I did try to include that Vader annual and reconcile it with Catalyst. And I think all I said is that a high-ranking Imperial informs the Ersos that they're working on a weapon of terrible power. And that's what causes them to leave Imperial service.
Yeah.
I just didn't say it was Darth Vader in this comic.
Right.
It's just trying to like take a step back, look at it at a larger view. Also, we could say that so the Kanan comic is kind of told through Kanan's memories. So we could play with a little bit of unreliable narrator there. Like maybe his memory is just a little hazy. I think that's a shaky argument.
I was at a campfire.
There.
No, it was daytime.
Just blame it on PTSD. Just blame it on PTSD.
It was literally dark when this happened in the Kanan comic, and it was daytime
was.
In the show.
Yeah, it kind of was. Yeah.
I just read it.
Let's see.
But
Michelle Cobb.
It is really tough, though. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's just tough because when you're someone who is a huge comic book fan, I can understand the frustration. Is all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Sorry. Go ahead.
I lost my place. Oh, Michelle Cobb. Thanks for the super chat. Do you like Freddie Prinze Jr. returning as Caleb, or would you have preferred an age-appropriate sounding Kanan? She says in parentheses, the correct answer is Freddie Prinze Jr. forever. Yeah, I mean, I like that they brought him back to do the voice. Could they have maybe pitched it up a notch? Yes, but then again, it's like, well, then people might not have recognized who that was. I don't know. It was a little odd.
I mean, it made me laugh, but I was I quickly got over it, and I was like, yeah, that's Freddie Prinze Jr., and I'm glad he's back.
Mm-hmm. That is the deepest baritone from a 15-year-old you will ever hear. It's fantastic. Don't call me kid. You know,
right?
Like, okay, yes, sir.
All right.
Right. I'm gonna be taking my Jedi trial soon.
Marlon Rando, thanks for your question. Do you think we will see more of Saw Gerrera later in the season?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think so.
They wouldn't have shown him, I don't think, at the start here without having plans to at least have him come back for an episode or two.
Love the scar on his face.
Yeah.
I loved his whole look. Was so happy to see him.
Yeah.
The same thing where I just don't think they're going to take the time to model a character for one scene.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense.
Yeah, especially
knowing
that,
everything that goes into animation.
Yeah, especially making him like that detailed, and he looks fantastic. Yeah. And I love you can see like the progression they're going from what they had in the Clone Wars series to I almost said Morgan Freeman to Forrest Whitaker's character. So I love what they're doing, and I hope he comes back.
His voice too. I wasn't sure for a second. I was like, it's Andrew Kashino, I think is his name. I was like, is that Forrest or Andrew?
It's good.
And Kashino was like really transitioning from what he did in the Clone Wars to Saw Gerrera, but it was kind of like going in and out, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with story changes and things like that. In Rogue One, Saw had, Forrest had a different voice for Saw. And then when they went back to Rebels, which is just like a year or two prior to where we see him in Rogue One, he sort of refined that so it's closer to the Clone Wars character. So I like that they're doing that, just refining things like Kanan.
I should, yes, that is a fair point. That they've made a Grievous model twice that barely got used. And
I mean, whoever made that was probably volunteered to do that. They're probably like, heck yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they're proud of that, and not a big deal. But it's only going to be used once or twice.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll be in a flashback, or
it's like 3 good seconds of Grievous right there.
Ice Phoenix 2, thanks for your super chat. So do they just have all of Revenge of the Sith animated in the Clone Wars style? Or are they keeping the door open for more Clone Wars stories on Disney Plus?
I think the door's open on
I think so too.
a lot of stories.
Yeah, there's so many tragic stories that could happen.
Like we're getting
So
What is
many.
it with- Come on, Chris.
I'm just, every Clone Wars story end with Order 66. Like, there's no happy ending, none. But they're good stories,
I mean, that's
so I'm all for it.
not true.
Yeah,
Rebels.
Palpatine was like, "Hey, my story ended great."
Rebels, they were awesome. The end of Rebels was good.
Yeah,
You know,
I just mean like
Ezra's
I just
lost,
mean
but
Clone
whatever.
Wars Fallout stories.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
go ahead.
So I was going to say, Jordan Mason on Twitter from Cinelinx, who is in the leak business and I think has a pretty good track record, has said that he has heard that Lucasfilm Animation is working on multiple. He said kind of movies, but I think like this episode of The Bad Batch, like just a really long episode. And so I don't know, maybe they would adapt something like Dark Disciple or Son of Dathomir, something that was going to be a Clone Wars arc that never made it and was adapted into other mediums.
Didn't I say in a Q&A that I thought that like I was predicting that they were going to take all those lost stories and fully animate them and release them as like their own separate things?
That'd be amazing.
Pretty sure I called that.
I'm looking for my wallet so I can give Lucasfilm more money to make Dark Disciple into an animation. Please give me Ventress. God, I would love it if they did some live action with Ventress. But I digress.
Rick Villanueva, what's up? And thanks for your super
Rich.
chat. Which Bad Batch member eats the most fried chicken? Easily Wrecker. Come on.
This guy needs a lot of protein.
He needs protein. He needs the calories. Yeah, no grilled chicken for Wrecker.
I definitely think that this person is a Blue Bantha milk watcher. 'Cause anytime I think of fried chicken, I think of Boba Fett now.
Yes, there is a severe lack of fried chicken on this stream, and we apologize.
Yeah. I forgot.
Oh, look who's next.
Oh, Ken Knapsack. What's up, Ken? Thanks for the super chat. Waiting for Filoni to retcon any trivia loss I suffered to Alex. And shows and movies should always have last say.
I think that is how it's going to be. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's kind of what their goal is.
Even if the comic book was more in depth and way more intense, and
Here we go.
Greg Wiseman was slighted just a bit.
Oh, boy.
All right, Ken, fine, Ken.
just a bit. LVLA, thank you for your question. So I initially thought that the little girl with Saw was Jin, but wrong timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little off.
early.
I think Jin's 2 at the end of the Clone Wars. I believe she is. Yeah, she's
'cause I think-
21.
Was she like
Too
6
early.
or 8 when Saul got her? Was she like 6 or 8 years old? I forget.
I mean, she was like around 8. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. This always annoys me for trivia purposes, is that she says she hasn't seen her father in 15 years, which would mean she's 23 by the time of Rogue One, but she's not. She's 21.
Right.
So she should be 6 when Saw
Oh.
gets to her, but
Oh,
she's
math.
not. It says she's 8. I'm like, the math doesn't add up, Jen.
Damn it, math.
Cue the gif of all the equations going
Yeah.
across the screen of like,
I
Just
get-
doesn't make sense.
it's Jin is just bad at math. That is canon. Jin can't count.
Yeah, she has no idea what she's
Yeah.
talking about.
Jane Dalton, thanks for the super chat. What's up, Jane? Do you guys think they'll sit down to do Clone Wars style intros next week, or is that only because the first episode was set in the Clone Wars?
I think that may be it.
Man, I loved hearing that
Yes.
so
Yeah.
bad. It was so good. I
Go ahead.
oh no. I love that dude's voice. I love how they do that radio style, like, you know, you're just about you're turning on the radio to listen to Star Wars instead of watch it, is how I feel every time.
I think that may be it.
something that I would like to see. I don't want it to be it. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I really love the idea that they keep doing it, but like the clones, the narration changes to just like straight up Imperial propaganda.
Oh,
Ooh.
It is
I
a
like
dark
that.
time in the galaxy.
well, if it's propaganda, it's like it's a great time in the
Yeah,
galaxy.
everything is awesome.
Peace, so much peace and order. Yeah,
It'll turn into that
would be
spiel.
fun.
It'll turn into that spiel that we hear over in Solo when he's trying to get through that station, and it's like, join the Empire.
Oh yeah, we get the Imperial
your
March.
beloved
I love it.
emperor.
Yeah, the like happy sounding Imperial March. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
The benevolent emperor Palpatine. Love him.
Really nice guy.
Not ugly.
Yeah. Tom Kane. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Neberus Knight. Thank you.
Hitman Hudson, thanks for your super chat. Says 0 out of 10. No Lux Bonteri and no Rail Avaros. Well, the series is in early days, so Lux is someone that I think we'll see. I could see him popping back up, especially because he was related to Saw.
Yeah, that I could see. And if we get that, hopefully, like I think my favorite story aspect in Star Wars right now, and Dan, you know this, is Inferno Squad. I love that. So they may be too young. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. She's not ready yet.
Depending on where they go with it.
I mean, that'd be a cool location to visit. Vardos.
Vardos, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of the planets, definitely.
I like that.
Yeah. The Real Red 5, thanks for your super chat. My favorite part by far is the Depot Kanan part. I thought Kanan and Grand Inquisitor season 1, episode 16, more than the comics. They're setting up all of the cloning Mando to episode 9. Oh, all of the cloning from Mando to episode 9.
No, look, I'm happy if people enjoy it. Like, I just enjoy the comic. I enjoy the comic, Chris. I'm happy if someone watched this whole episode front to back and was like, I loved every second of it. I loved Depa Billaba and Kanan. I loved that scene. I thought it was a great scene. I love the comic book more. It's really what it comes down to, Chris.
And you're allowed to.
And it's still right there, and you can read it. You can read it right now.
It didn't burst into flames. It's still there.
Exactly. I'm glad that
Dave
super
Filoni
chat
kicked your door in and ripped your comic in half.
He tore it in half and burned it in front of me.
He looked at you dead in your face and went, rip.
Put a cowboy hat on you, and he said, "Watch the Bad Batch."
You're gonna love it, you know. That's my Dave Filoni impression.
That's fantastic.
Demon Lord Illidan, thank you for your question. Remember, Crosshair is the one with the good soldiers follow orders line, so he was closest to the regular soldier programming.
Yeah,
definitely.
I am curious if it's just like, if his chip didn't malfunction, or if it was just that he's kind of an angry person to begin with, if that made him more susceptible to the inhibitor chip.
I mean, he wasn't mutated all that much. What? He can shoot a gun better than everyone else.
That's true. But what's Hunter's though? It's he has heightened senses,
and he looks like Rambo.
According to who?
Awesome.
I should point out that of all of the members of the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars arc, I was like, who cares about Hunter? Like he's nobody. He was not a character to me. And I really, really loved him in this episode. I thought they completely turned him around.
I'm really glad they didn't make him sound like Stallone. I'm really glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, you know, he's
Omega, you gotta come with us.
Right.
you gotta come with us, yo.
Doing it for the Republic. You understand what I mean?
I
love the knife. I
We all
love the
did
knife
one,
that he
Molly.
whips out. It's like right there in his cuff, and he's just like,
Are those vibroblades, or are they just
oh, I don't know.
knives that
I
he's just
didn't
really
even-
good with?
I didn't even examine that.
They're
It
like thick
looked
glow.
kind of fancy. Yeah, it might be a little vibro knife. Got another super chat from Jane Dalton. Thanks, Jane. Seems like the clones are going to continue to act like automatons now that the Jedi are gone.
Mhm.
Do y'all think the clones were only allowed to have their humanity and personality so the Jedi would be able to trust them?
I think that was just something that no one expected.
Yeah.
I think that a big theme of the Clone Wars is that it's your experiences that shape you. Rex in the movie experience outranks everything.
Yeah.
I think it's just meant to show that even if you are genetically identical, you're going to have different parents, Jedi generals, whoever shapes you is going to make you the person that you are.
Yeah.
So I think it was just supposed to be a take on, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, you can change your destiny, that kind of thing.
And if you look at the all the clones that were in on Camino, all identical. There was no individuality whatsoever. So that was just like definitely just an influence from their Jedi generals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems that way too, because that's when they start like decorating their helmets more, and
Different haircuts and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting that like the stormtroopers wind up being less unique. Like they're the ones that, despite not being clones, they're conscripted people.
Yeah.
They are not like the clones at all. They're
all just Joe Schmo.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's weird how the clones, the regular or the regs as the batch calls them, they look down on the Bad Batch clones, I guess because they're of their defects and whatnot. But these guys are way more advanced and more powerful than it. It's so weird.
They shade the rest of them, calling them regs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
But there's contention on both sides. It's kind of weird.
I was just like,
awesome.
Why would you call Wrecker's Sad Batch to his face?
Yeah.
He can rip you in half, man.
Yeah.
That food fight was great, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and also I loved that the training droids looked awfully similar to the Dark Troopers. Yeah.
Mhm.
Love
Those
that
are new toys, as Wrecker puts them. So those match the DT Sentry droids that we see in Star Wars Rebels Season 3. And then those were kind of precursors to, the Dark Troopers that we eventually see.
Right.
I was thinking that while Tarkin is watching that that second phase of that test go on, he's like, why don't we just use the droids? Just use a droid. Cut this. Just use a droid. Keep making them.
Yeah, that is true. They presented a challenge to like the best clones they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
probably all comes down to price.
Yeah.
He's just so unlikable, that guy. God.
It's like he's a villain or something.
Yeah.
Steve Stanton, like to say he imitates Peter Cushing is probably an understatement. He channels the ghost of Peter Cushing to do that role, I think. And there's the Tarkin Initiative, so that's why I'm thinking like they're doing some really weird science and whatnot with maybe the DNA from the Bad Batch. Maybe that'll happen over the course of this season, and they're maybe one of these test subjects in the Tarkin Initiative. And that's how we get. I'm going to keep harping back to this. I'm sorry, but Scar Squadron, like I think, that could be how we get them.
It's very true. I mean, he could have just made his own version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to derail things on Scar Squadron too much, but that's just, they haven't done enough with them in the comics. Like, they were cool the second they were introduced, and then they just keep getting beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they
people keep getting away. I don't know if they get beat, but they keep getting away. Except for that when they were on Crate, I think they got beat on Crate.
They got Luke. No, he didn't get Luke.
Didn't Wedge beat him up?
Yeah. Well, Creel, he handed it to Luke, I think.
That
Sergeant
sounds
Creel.
right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Erico, thanks for your question. Any opinions on Omega's droid being the same droid that helped Fives discover the chips in the clones?
It's easy.
Yeah, I was pretty sad when they just... I mean, it was a stun blast, but I feel like that's going to do a lot more to a droid.
Yeah.
The light literally left his eyes.
Oh, no.
You're like, smoke's coming out. I'm like, oh, they got him. Oh, AZ. But he
So
got mind
bad.
wiped, right? Didn't they like he wiped his memory? So all that stuff that happened in Clone Wars didn't like he doesn't.
It's
remember
been
that, right?
we haven't gotten back there in our chronological rewatch, so it's
Mm.
been a while since I've seen a channel season 6. But I trust you on that.
Another super chat from Michelle Cobb. Omega seemed like her special ability is telepathy. Can telepathy exist as a non-force ability?
Oh, I think she's just force ability.
Yeah, I think that's definitely some force sensitivity going on.
Yeah.
Anything supernatural in Star Wars, I chalk it up to the Force.
Yeah, she's definitely a special clone. She's got force sensitivity, telepathy, or
Lightning shooting out of her fingers.
what?
We'll see.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
see.
I'm going to chalk that up right there to force ability.
I agree. Black Hawk, thank you for your question. Crosshair was fighting the chip in his head. That's why the girl said what she said to Crosshair in the cell. Yeah, I think if he doesn't know about the chip, all the tech basically, Tech knows. He said it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Crosshair fully understands.
Understood. Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. Like I don't think he realizes the chip is making him think this way. Like I think he literally thinks he's in control of his own faculties and that everything's fine.
Yeah.
And right, like he's not defective.
Because when that tech was saying the record, like you know, about his programming, like, you know, in records like I like to blow stuff up because I like to blow stuff up. But who knows if that's something that's just implanted in his, you know, in his DNA to make him like to blow. So, you know, we don't know.
They all are the way they are because they were made to be that way. So
now we're getting deep. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I really love that. Might have been my favorite scene, though, of them all in the cell and when Omega was just reaching out to the one that kept being mad at her, and he gives her like a really nice look before they take him away and rip away his identity.
See, I wonder if he's going to notice that, like, you know, now that he had it all jacked up to 11, is he gonna like be like, they did something to me? You know, is that going to happen? Or is he just going to be like Winter Soldier and just be like following Imperial orders? I'm ready for command kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to notice that they jacked him up, or is he going to just be like,
I could see him being a Winter Soldier type for a good while, and then I don't know, maybe something happens to make him snap out of it a little bit. I don't know.
Omega.
This is another This is another kind of like jumping over to Star Wars Resistance. We had Tam join the First Order for a while, and eventually she comes back to her friends. I'm like, this could be another case of those, you know, it's like poetry, it rhymes. All of the
Zombatron 5678 says Seleucami is on S-8, not J19. Alex, I added that last part.
I'm double checking this because I looked it up when I heard J19, and that's the Suolriep sector. Don't know how to say that. Also known as Sector J19, was a sector in the galaxy. It was full of barren planets and contained the Seleucami system.
We'll never know.
So,
well,
S8
actually,
might be another.
What is S8 then?
I'm looking it up right now.
I love this fandom so much.
It does say, you know what, on the Seleucami system page, it says grid coordinates S8.
Who came up with these grid coordinates?
Let's see. Jump down to, that's the Star Wars Force Awakens beginner game. That's where that comes from. And the Suolriep sector is from Ultimate Star Wars. We'll see next week.
I guess. We'll see who's right.
You will see.
Adam Bosman, thanks for your question. The show should have been called Omega and Her Four Dads.
Oh,
I'd watch that.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, basically, yeah. It probably just wouldn't fit all in that little Star Wars
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. Brianna Klein, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the great chat. Omega seems like the character created for kids to relate to in the show. I'd be surprised for that reason if she becomes the explanation for all the episode 9 weirdness. I mean, I
think
agree.
she can serve both roles.
I agree that, she's kind of a younger character for a younger audience to relate more to, but we could find out a little bit more about her DNA enhancements, and it could just be a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the future of Star Wars and all the ways that they're messing with cloning and stuff.
Unlimited power.
I don't want to see her do that.
I think, yeah, they could probably find a way for her to serve multiple purposes in the show, but she is absolutely the Ahsoka or the Ezra of this series, or the Kaz, which I'm glad that it's back to the thing about Kaz was he was meant to be like the character for the kids to relate to, but he was like 23.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, get it together. Stop dropping everything.
Yeah, right.
You also had Nico.
Mhm.
That, yeah.
Ghost and Bandit, thanks for your question. Do you think Crosshair ends up killing one of the Bad Batch members? I bet Chris does.
You know me so well. It's some tragedy's got to happen, and this would be the most tragic thing if he were to kill one of his brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be tragic if one of them winds up killing him. It either way, it's
that's going to happen too.
Hurt.
But then, how do they become Scar Squadron?
They've got their DNA, man.
Like you said, all he does is
Targeting
shoot a
initiative,
gun
man.
slightly better.
Yeah.
Okay. See, now that makes a lot more sense to me. Just make new ones. You got the template all ready to go.
Yeah, a more complicit or more compliant task force
Underneath Krill's guidance.
I mean, they're called Task Force 99. The Bad Batch is Clone Force 99.
There's
Just
definitely
saying,
a connection.
Yeah.
And all their body types match, except for Creel. But yeah.
If Crosshair ends up killing one of them, I don't think it'll happen for a while. The same way Kanan is around until like near the end of season 4.
Yeah.
It's still a show. It's an animated show that's going to be accessible for kids, so it's not going to be a bloodbath at any point.
Do we know if
Maybe
this
he near kills them, tries
Sure.
to, and then snaps out of it.
Mm.
It's
Interesting.
possible.
It
Now,
could be
do
like,
we
kind
know
of like it could be kind of like Rex, where he's pointing his blasters at Ahsoka, and you can see he's fighting it, but he can't quite get over it. Maybe Crosshair can get over it.
Yeah.
Do we know if this is going to be more than one season?
I don't know, but they said something about in that interview I was reading. They're like, "Oh, we'll see, and we'd love to tell more stories with these characters." And I'm like, "You're okay. If there's going to be a season 2, you're already working on it. So I think they're just going to announce it at the end of season 1 or something. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be more than one season."
Yeah.
All right.
Stephen Ray Morris, thanks for the super chat. Don't know if I missed this, but did y'all like the animated versions of episode 3 moments? Oh,
Yes.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely loved
I loved
all
seeing
of that.
Palpatine doing that, like goofy dodge as Anakin's cutting down those. That's kind of all there was to it. I'm surprised that they do all that, but again, they made the updated models for Clone Wars season 7. It's like, well, let's go ahead and use them.
I guess
Show
the
'em off
death
a little more.
the death of Dooku was a bit much.
Yeah.
Put in there.
And I wonder
That's a
if
good point.
they're going to do more stories from Order 66. Are we finally going to see the attack on the Jedi Temple, like full blown, all the way through? I
hope
that
it's
happens.
something
I don't think it's
like-
going to be in this series. I don't think it's going to be in this series, but that's something I would like to.
Every time I think of an attack on the Jedi Temple, I think of that short little movie made for the Old Republic game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Great
yeah, I just
cinematic.
watched that the other day. Yeah,
it is really good. But it would be really cool to see the clones like infiltrate, and we don't have to see what Anakin does because we know
Yeah,
what
we
he
do.
does.
yeah, we do.
Chris.
I'm just saying.
We have to.
To
That's
get the
the
full scope,
Skywalker.
We
we
need
don't have to see
the
that
do?
part. We don't have to
We
see
need-
that part. But-
We need the carnage. Give it to me.
Oh, here we go. The Templin Institute's here. The best part was when Tarkin mentioned that the Empire acquired a new international legal personality distinct from the Republic. Talk about that, he says in all caps. I missed that part. Okay, I guess I didn't. He said something about, okay, I think he's referring to the Kaminoans saying, we have a contract with the Republic. And Tarkin being like, well, the Republic no longer exists, so those
So
contracts are void.
so gangster. I was like, oh, you.
That was brutal. And that's when Tarkin got cheap.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you realize that he wasn't willing to pay the coin for obedience.
Yeah. I mean,
That Galactic Civil War would have been over so much quicker if they would have used the clone troopers and just kept making them and paid a couple extra bucks. But when you're making, 2 Death Stars, and apparently Palpatine's got 1,000 Star Destroyers on Exegol being made. Yeah, you got to cut corners somewhere.
yeah, I
Palpatine
mean, that's what
throwing
they
Kyber
do.
crystal.
Yeah.
They put all their money in like imagery and in fear and
Yeah.
in like Star Destroyers and Death Stars, and just doesn't work.
Mhm.
They're not worried about blaster accuracy.
Definitely not.
No.
Quantity over quality with them, for sure.
Yeah.
Shadow Demon 117, thanks for the super chat. Do you think we will see Delta Squad?
Well, they did, like, interestingly, they did announce one of the Republic Commandos Funko Pops today. And I was like, that's odd.
Hmm.
And it's like, they are canon.
Hmm.
And I do think that would be a really fun antagonist for the Bad Batch to have to handle, because they're very similar groups. So I think it would be fun, but I kind of get the sense that the Bad Batch is supposed to be the new Delta Squad.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's what Dave Filoni wants anyway.
Hey, whatever Dave Filoni wants, Dave Filoni gets.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
I have no arguments there.
Yeah.
Erico M, thanks for another super chat. Any speculation or wishes for Jedi or Force sensitive characters that'll appear in the show, such as Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Vader, Inquisitors, maybe?
I want to see Jocasta Nu being a badass.
Yes.
That's got to happen fast. It's got to happen fast because
She was awesome in the Vader comics.
I did see that, yes.
So good. That lightsaber gun?
I was
Come
gonna
on.
say, yeah, if we can get like that saber rifle,
Mhm.
that would be amazing to see.
I don't think we'll see it in the Bad Batch, but that's my hope.
Yeah.
I like Hondo. I'm gonna be surprised if we don't ever see Ahsoka. It's like you said about his little treasures. Ahsoka's gonna come back.
Yeah.
It's a Dave Filoni joint.
If they do if they do Obi-Wan, like it's got a link to, I guess, his show that they're
Right.
gonna do in some way.
I was gonna say I don't think Obi-Wan will show up,
Yeah.
but yeah, that kind of makes like that whole corporate synergy. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Just to be like,
There's this dude on Tatooine
Yeah.
that might be able to help you in the right direction.
Well, I don't know. No one should really know except for Maul and
and Maul doesn't
Ezra.
find out for a while.
No, you know who does know is Alderaan guy. I can't think of
Bail?
his name.
Bail
Bail,
Organa.
yeah. That's his name.
Jimmy
Bail
Smith.
Organa, Alderaan guy. You know, yeah, he's the one who knows. And I mean, there's totally possible that he, you know, if they're looking for information on what happened with the Jedi, if they snapped or whatever, he could easily be like, go see this guy on Tatooine.
I could see other survivors of Order 66, like if they take it upon themselves to go help, like Quinlan Voss is supposedly still alive, try to track him down and be like, hey, we're here to help keep you alive.
Sup,
and
bro?
we probably won't, but
Depending on how long the series goes, maybe we can see maybe a little preview of maybe a Jedi Fallen Order 2, like if they run into Marin and Cal and everyone. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I
Yeah.
do think we're going to see Cal.
That
The trailer shows
Does it
the
show
planet-
Braca?
It shows a planet that looks an awful lot like Braca. I think
Ooh.
it makes sense for the clones to go there thematically because it's like we're ripping apart the Republic and building the Empire from it.
I have
And
a
if-
friend
come on.
who would fangirl Flair.
Yeah, Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah, Connor would lose his mind.
yeah.
He's probably losing his
Connor.
mind right now, just speculating about it.
He's definitely the one person I know on this earth that loves Fallen Order more than anybody in the world.
I've seen their tweets and I think they might like it more than I do. I love
it. Yeah, Connor's great. And
Yeah.
he would definitely be the one that's like would benefit most from this cameo.
Yeah.
That would be great to see Cal though. That would be really awesome to see him. Or Seer.
Yeah.
You know.
And
any
I
of
think
them.
Inquisitors are for sure a possibility, or a possibility.
Yeah, we know Matt Lanter's in it. We know Matt Lanter is in it. We know Vader's in it. We might see some. We haven't heard about Jason. What's his name? He was Jason. He did the Grand Inquisitor.
Isaacs.
Yeah, Jason Isaacs. Yeah. We haven't heard about him, but Matt Lanter and Vader definitely getting some Inquisitor action. I would love to see that. That would be great.
Just
Oh,
real quick, our
Boomstick.
friend. Oh, I was I was
You
pulling it
pulled
up
it
too.
I was going to say Boomstick did it.
Wow.
Awesome.
That
Always
son of
count
a
on
gun, he
Boomstick.
did it.
I love meme makers. They're the best. Graphic artists are so quick.
Okay, we've got a lot of super chats to get through.
If you guys need to go at any point, just let us know and we can let you go.
I'm
But-
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good. Yeah. Super chat.
56 Landon, thank you for your question. Lama Sue and Nala Say seem to have drama brewing. I agree.
Nala Say, she's the one that was kind of like keeping that door open, right?
Yep.
That happened all very fast, and I was like, oh, she's kind of doing that. And then they had that moment where she speaks to Lama Sue and she walks away, and they kind of like side eye each other. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think they're on the same. Well, she didn't like tell him what she did, but he's also like, maybe just don't tell the Empire. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of doing their own thing, and I like it.
Yeah, they're definitely going behind the Empire's back. But I wonder if her reasons for doing it and Lama Sue's reasons for doing it are gelling. You know, like maybe she actually, you know, cares about Omega, and whereas it's property to Lama Sue.
My wild speculation is that she can track her through that little headpiece that she's wearing. That's just like, I don't know, that popped into my head and I was like, oh no.
Huh.
Just like wearing this one piece of Kaminoan tech.
No, you must always wear it.
I am very curious about the Kaminoans and just like what's going to happen to them. Like we said earlier, like does that whole facility just get blown up at one point? Like what do they really think about what's happening with Palpatine and Tarkin and all that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't know if that planet's going to be around much longer.
that cloning tech is a lot of power. And we all know what Palpatine is about.
He doesn't like when anyone else has it.
Yeah. Batman is my dad. Thanks for the super chat. In what state of mind do you think Rex will be in when we see him? I, for one, would like to see him depressed. And do you think we'll see Ashley as Ahsoka, or is Rosario going to be the new voice for Ahsoka?
It probably should be Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw myself doing it. I shot at her. I didn't know what to do.
I just like that they said, I, for one, would like to see him depressed. I mean, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna find out soon.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for him to be sad, but I hope he's picking himself up quick. Maybe he's sad, and then the Bad Batch shows up and like offers him new purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're the ones that get him to yeah. I wonder if they're the ones that like send him on his way to finding Gregor and Wolf.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of hope they all do that together.
Mm-hmm.
If Rex explains, here's what the chips are doing, and like, oh, that's what's happening to Crosshair, and so they go on this quest to try to help as many clones as they can.
Yeah.
Well, I think Echo is going to be the key, you know, like to finding Rex if Rex does show up.
I'm just gonna my guess is that he is going to be with Cutler Quain because Rex knows about that person. He also needs somewhere to lie low, so he's just gonna go back to Seleucami, and he'll be there. He'll be like, "Let me cut this thing out of your head real quick."
Let me see you real quick. Come here.
It's going to be like R2 and 3PO in episode 9, where we can just get a hard cut.
You wanted to take like, what out of me?
Next cut. Oh, thanks.
I felt much better.
Yeah, much better.
Jedi are great.
What was I thinking?
Lord Hosk, thank you for the super chat. How was Freddie Prinze Not So Junior's young voice? We've touched on that a bit already, but still funny.
Yeah, still funny.
Fantastic.
I literally thought they were going to chipmunk that up a little bit.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe they tried and it sounded awful, and they're like, you know what? Let's just let it slide.
They couldn't get his "Hey bro" voice like sounding like he's actually a teenager anymore. He's just like, "Bro, can't do it."
He's just always sounded like that.
Yeah.
So
it's a fantastic baritone.
Yeah.
So true.
Jane Dalton, thanks for another super chat. Do y'all think Darth Vader will show up in the show, being that they made a character model for him at the end of season 7?
Please.
You and your character models, Alex. Now there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's like Alex's like key.
And that was an amazing looking Vader. I thought. Please,
loved it. I love like how he was thin, like slender, very menacing looking. And yes, he is going to show. Matthew Lanter has signed on. I don't know, and we know at this point, if it's already past Order 66, that man is missing 2 arms, 2 legs.
And he's got a fantastic voice.
Yeah, we are going to see Vader definitely. Because if not, Matt Lanter signed on to do some like flashback stuff, but. He just said he's coming in for a project and he can't say what yet, right? Which everyone's assuming it's something that is. It could be Visions. It's probably this, but
I wonder if they got James Earl to come back and do the Vader voice.
I think they probably would. He seems down to do it whenever they need him.
Yeah,
it's true.
He came back for Rebels. He came back for one line in The Rise of Skywalker.
But he was in Coming to America too. So.
He was.
He'll do anything.
He'll do that. He'll do Star Wars.
Still, my favorite thing he's ever been in was Sandlot.
Oh, I love the Sandlot.
Yeah, the
that movie holds up.
Guy.
Does hold.
Yeah.
Therald, thanks for your question. Will Vader show up with choking and weak eyebrows like Bateman later in Show 501 reference?
There. Don't forget the there.
You lost me.
Me too.
Will Vader show up with choking and weak eyebrows? Well, we have had someone ask if Vader's going to have eyebrows or not, because sometimes Sebastian Shaw has eyebrows in Return of the Jedi, and sometimes he does not.
And I think he had him in that season. Was it 2 finale?
Yes, I think he had them in Rebels.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's so inconsistent.
Yeah. He's like, sometimes I shave him, sometimes I don't.
Hey, Depa Balaba's lightsaber was green. Just saying.
Things change.
Things change indeed.
It wasn't always called A New Hope.
That's true. Radical Z, thanks for your question. Could we see Obi-Wan show up maybe and at the end of episode 1 of Bad Batch? Where are we in the timeline of Revenge of the Sith?
Like 10 minutes afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke and Leia are being dropped off on Alderaan and Tatooine, probably.
Yeah.
Like,
There's probably a lightsaber burning happening right now.
Yeah,
Like,
Vader's already fighting that guy on his Barash. Oh, what's it called?
Bearish Vow.
Bearish Vow. Yeah, that's good. Good,
That-
Alex.
That seems that's what I do. That seems like it would take a couple days. I don't know, but they did go to Onderon. That's a lengthy trip. So
Yeah.
What's up, Blue Bantha Milk Co? Thanks for the super chat.
My
Deeply
guys.
serious question, they say.
It's
oh no,
not serious.
It's not.
Why do I love the four of you so much? It's canon. Also, what's a Bad Batch?
See,
is it
I
canon
think
in
it's
the
because of
Banthaverse?
my dimples.
Mm. All of our fantastic voice work, I think, is why.
That's right.
Well, we still haven't heard Molly Stallone, but maybe we'll get that later.
Me being able to do Ray gets rid of like all other
Okay.
voice abilities. That's the one thing that I can do.
He's going to cast you as Stallone in the next Banthaverse thing.
Get out of Stallone
Oh,
free
no.
card. Yeah, right.
Darth Stallone. LVLA, thanks for the super chat. Imagine the soundstage. Only Filoni and D in there.
Yeah, that guy.
Do you think D.
putting in
Bradley
the
Baker
work.
has different stations for
he's
each?
gonna.
And he's like running back and forth.
Honestly, that might keep things a little more interesting for him.
I mean,
Get your steps in.
multiple personality disorder. What?
Yeah.
I loved in the credits when it just says D. Bradley Baker as the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Like we're not,
Yeah.
he's all of them. Okay.
What a gig that guy landed. I mean, does he get any extra money?
I was about to say, does he get paid per?
Right.
Per character. Yeah. That's an interesting. Yeah.
In like all the different clone troopers?
I wonder how that works. I honestly have no idea. Maybe it's paid like per hour, an hourly rate while you're recording.
Could be.
I have no clue.
He's definitely making out on the Bad Batch, though.
James Waterman, thanks for your super chat. How about Caleb tells the comic version of the story to protect the Bad Batch from the Empire because he could tell Hunter wasn't evil, something like, I couldn't see, it was nighttime, Bad Batch wasn't there. Huh?
What do you think, Dan?
Why is everybody looking at me?
Eh?
Chris instantly looked at me when you started reading that, Molly. And you know what? Maybe if it makes it fit, right? Whatever. But I think that is a great idea. It could work. The Bad Batch are some good dudes, and we would want to protect them. So maybe coming up with a false, awesome story could help. But
Yeah.
you know, hey.
Brett Baumler, thanks for the question. In an Entertainment Weekly interview, the head writer was asked if Kanan would reappear later in the season and basically dodged the question, do you think he could? Well, now maybe they meet up and they're like, hey, sorry about before. Didn't mean to scare you. The guy that shot at you is not here. And then he's like, don't worry. If I tell the story in the future, I will lie about you.
I wonder because the way he was when he met up with Rex and Wolf and Gregor, like that same animosity, like it just kicked back in from when Order 66 happened. So I don't think he's seen a clone since.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason I think they let the deep voice slide.
Yeah.
They're like, that's one scene.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
And I agree. It it doesn't make sense for him to keep running into clones.
Yeah.
If that's how he's going to react. It definitely seems like the last time he saw a clone, they were shooting at him.
Right, and he doesn't really run into them anymore in the comic book, but that doesn't matter, does it?
He does with Gray and Styles. They chase him for like a year.
Yeah. I'm just saying in the comic series is what I'm saying. Like,
Well, maybe they still chase him, Dan. It's okay.
I know.
Are your books still there?
It's just kind of. It's kind of
disappear.
They fade away, Back to the Future style.
Yeah, right. He's got his Mickey Mouse shirt on. What is happening?
It's like you see an arena comic. It just disappears. What was I doing?
Bakey, I totally agree with this. Thanks for your super chat. No matter how many times I see an execute Order 66 scene, I still get chills.
Yeah.
I was like, the way that episode started, I was just like, oh, when is it going to happen? And then it just like happened suddenly, and Blabba kind of like looks around, and I was like, oh no, it's going down.
Her scream when Kanan was running away was pretty brutal. Like I said, it was a good scene. Like it was definitely a good scene. I'm not going to take it away.
Yeah.
And you felt it a bit, you know. And
Kanan hears that scream. He hears that scream for the rest of his life.
You see her get shot in the back and drop her saber too. Like, and I was just like, oh, damn.
I do think that they were, while they were adjusting the story, they still seemed to pay homage to the comic. Like there is some framing of Deppa like holding the lightsaber in her hand out with Gray right behind her. I'm like, that's a frame from the comic.
Right.
So I do think that they were trying to at least acknowledge what they were doing. And thoughts.
And it was, they also paid homage to the soldiers in the red armor. If you noticed, like they were around a little bit more. You saw them because they were all that's what color they were in the comic book.
And that's someone actually.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. He wasn't green. He was red along with his other guys. But you notice, like in a scene right after that, it was all the troopers in the red armor, like in that like red colored armor.
I think they probably just changed Gray's color because the shock troopers were going to be in the show so much, and they didn't want to. I think that was just a stylistic choice that they didn't want to confuse people.
Makes sense.
Animated Sky, thanks for your question. They keep teasing us with episode 3 scenes in the Clone Wars style. Do you think we'll ever go as far as to do the whole movie?
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't mind.
3 is.
I mean, it would look great, but like, it'd be the same thing as like, why are you making all of these? Why make the Lion King again, shot for shot, just made in a computer? Like, I don't know.
Because Jon Favreau does what he wants.
Sure. And I mean, like, technologically, it's mind-blowing. But, like, I just have no interest in watching it because I'm like, I'll just watch The Lion King.
Yeah.
If they're going to do something new with it and, you know, change my perspective, then I'll watch it. But just not something I'm interested in.
AAA Battery asks, was the dead Jedi lightsaber a known lightsaber? I'm guessing that's the one that had like the sheet over.
Shakti!
No, they did not kill her again.
Yeah, Shakti was super tall. That looked like a slightly shorter person.
They were like, we already threw the comic out the window. Let's just add another canon death for Shakti.
When was this lightsaber shown? Or what did I miss? Did I miss this part?
While you were weeping.
They bring by like a dead body.
You just missed it.
They're like carrying a dead body with like a sheet over it, and a lightsaber kind of rolls off and onto the ground. It was kind of a weird scene, but
second watch is definitely needed.
I don't think it was Shakti because they've said that they're basically working under the assumption that the deleted scene where Anakin kills her in the Jedi Temple is what they're going with. But she has died like 5 times. And I saw someone throw. I can't remember the Jedi's name now, but she also has yellow skin. She was the doctor in season 6 of the Clone Wars, like the Jedi doctor. Don't remember her name. Someone in the chat can probably.
Was she Mary Ellen? Is that am I saying that right?
No, I don't remember her species.
Someone will bring it up.
But I don't think that was a known lightsaber.
Yeah.
She had Crypt Keeper says she has purple skin. Who am I thinking of?
Was it purple skin? Huh.
Everyone's like arguing over what species she is. I'll look for it.
I was just thinking Luminara just because we saw her in Rebels or whatever. No. That's probably not her.
She's got green skin.
While Alex looks that up, LVLA. Thanks for the super chat. Okay.
Rig Nima, sorry. She is a Halasi, but she was on Coruscant the last we saw, so I don't know.
If it's purple skin, I keep forgetting the name of that.
It's not purple. Race. She is.
Oh, it wasn't purple.
She is yellow. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Well, again, we'll never know. LV's super chat was, where are those dark troopers phase 1? Or were those dark troopers phase 1?
They're definitely a precursor model to what we eventually get.
But I remember Dr. Percy saying that they were the final solution was making them droids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I think that this was kind of like that. They're precursors to the DT Sentry droid from Star Wars Rebels. So I don't think they were dark troopers, but they are related.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hitman Hudson, why has May 4th become so commercial? Don't people realize that Obi-Wan is the reason for the season? Honestly, shameful. That's very good. That's very funny. You should make stickers. That's a good idea. But Adam Marish with a question: could Hunter also be force sensitive? I mean, he has heightened senses.
Wouldn't surprise me if maybe one of them might be.
He's just sense sensitive.
I think he's just very he's really good at being able to read a situation. That's like his special skill, where I think he can really read a room. And he's very tactically sound. Like he sees things, like he can see. I know a Jedi can see things before they happen, but I mean, like he can see the way something is laid out and kind of put it all together. And he's just very tactically sound.
He's like Aragorn, a Hobbit lay here.
Yeah.
He can.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has the long hair. I mean, he's halfway there.
I don't think they'd
let true king.
I don't think they'd let someone with a face tattoo be king of Gondor. I just don't see it happen.
Well,
but I don't think he's
progressive.
Yeah, I don't think he's force sensitive, but I wouldn't write it off.
Yeah,
if he's just a little bit. I like sensitive, Molly.
Crypt Keeper, thanks for your super chat. Order 66 being told from 50 different perspectives, basically endless miniseries potential. Yeah.
I love Clone Wars era. I mean, this Order 66 is such an intense moment of like transitions of power. Jedi are just dying everywhere. Oh my god, it's like the biggest con of the galaxy. It's so good, and it's so ripe for storytelling. It's really good.
And multiple people have said it, but yeah, every time it happens, it's like, oh, here come the feels again. I remember in Fallen Order, when you realize it's about to go down, you're like, oh no. And it's terrible, but also amazing to play through.
Like when the beginning of the episode, when what was the name of that clone commander again?
Gray?
Yeah. When he hits his communicator and starts to walk away, I was like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah. And then like you see in the show, like the corner of Palps's face, he's just like, oh, execute on the 60 thing. And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
I do love the question. People are like, did he call every single commander?
Like one by one?
Thanks, bye.
Yeah.
It was a mass email. It was a mass hologram mail.
In my head, that's what it is. But it
Yeah.
is funny to think that he's like every single one.
Yeah.
Like,
Hello?
this is too
Hello?
many.
Are you there?
Execute Order 66. All right, thank you.
Is this
I
on?
can see you. Can you see me?
Execute Order 60. Execute Order 66.
It's like
Rico
it's like
M.
that
Okay.
scene in a Robot Chicken where it's like Stormtrooper, Stormtrooper,
Order 66.
Stormtrooper, Stormtrooper.
Order 66. Erico M, thanks for another question. What is the canon for the end of the Clone Army? Were they terminated, or are they just given a pension and sit off into the galaxy?
Pension.
Yeah, I don't think they were given a pension at all. And we don't really know right now. We just know that it ended.
They were definitely not given a pension if Tarkin was keeping the books.
Nope.
I mean, a lot of people don't even see the clones as people, so they're just going to be like, all right, well, thanks for your service. Bye.
Yeah.
But I think we're probably going to find out. We'll probably get a definite answer throughout this series.
Yeah.
Here's this lovely fruit basket.
Thanks
If
for
that-
everything.
Thanks for all the murder.
Here's a Melu run. Get out.
Nice.
Enjoy.
Melu run and a complimentary blue milk.
Yeah.
Darren Schweeters, thanks for the super chat. I think that what it's telling us is the Kaminoans are expert enough to clone Force users, but they will have a falling out with the Empire. So then the Empire will try to replicate their success poorly.
I really like that idea.
Me too. It makes a lot of sense for what we're getting in The Mandalorian. You know, that they just haven't been able to get it right. I mean, even Palpatine has a bunch of failures and tubes in his little lair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
AIDS for life, or 80s for life. I don't know about the first one. Thoughts on a possible mall appearance? I think that's likely.
It's very likely.
Again, the model. Look to the models.
Kenobi!
Yeah, if they're going to hit the underworld, then yeah.
Although Sam Witwer did, I mean, he's not going to spoil anything, but like I straight up asked him if he was in the Bad Batch, thinking he would say I cannot confirm or deny, and he just said no.
He's getting good at this. He's just really good at this now.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that as him telling the truth, because if he were, he wouldn't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Right.
But he was just like, no. Like usually they give a, well, we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why anyone would do that. I would just be like, no, and move on. And then it's like,
Sam
if
knows
you
what
are
he's
in
doing.
it, surprise.
Filoni has taught him well.
I'm
All right,
terrible.
Sam
I'd be
Witwer's
like,
in it. Confirmed.
no, I'm not in it.
No.
Wink, wink. Red Vega, thanks for the super chat. Crosshair be like, who the hell is Hunter?
He did. There was some challenge of authority between those two. And he's like, maybe you just not fit to lead.
Chicken.
Right.
I'm sorry. Every time you do the voice.
But yeah, I like the little battle between the two of them, and that's definitely going to continue, especially now that he's all hyped up on loyalty.
Yeah.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
the new drug.
Yeah.
Join the Empire and get all you can access to loyalty.
That's right. They wouldn't have loyalty officers like Raph Velas.
Demon Lord Illidan, thanks for the question. They need to punish Crosshair for turning on the group. Blind him. Oh no.
Ooh.
I mean, that could happen. You know, like I always, if they're gonna redeem him, I don't know, that feels like a good sacrifice for him to make. If somehow, like, he saved his brothers and survived, but went blind and like lost his gifts, that kind of redemption always, I don't know, feels good.
But you know, if he
To
has
me,
enough
not to
credits,
him.
if he's got enough credits, he can have a
Cybernetic eye.
some eyes put in there. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like Valance.
Definitely. Definitely. I can't
Eric,
wait to see where that goes. Sorry.
Yeah. Same. Although I don't know that they're really in the business of just getting revenge on him
No,
like that.
Right.
I think maybe they mean like for the writers.
for it to
the
happen.
writers
Yeah.
need to punish him.
Okay. Gotcha.
Karma needs to punish him.
Did any of you guys watch? I guess it premiered yesterday as well, or today. Star Wars Biomes.
I did. I put that on for a little bit, or I watched it all, or it was kind of on while I was working.
Yeah,
Not seen
I
it yet.
loved it.
It was cool.
I just love like seeing the locales and things like that, and just weaving in and out of the different locations and whatnot. I thought it was beautiful.
I don't know. I don't think I know what that is. I'll have to check it out.
They added it today. It's just like a flyover of Hoth and Tatooine, and I like seeing Sorgan in there and Octo. So it's just kind of like an ambient thing to have on.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Erico M, thanks for another super chat. Putting out the deep May 4th questions. How did you enjoy the Simpsons Star Wars crossover today?
Damn it, I didn't see that.
We haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I have
I
not
did.
watched that.
Oh, you did?
It was
Well,
cute.
I've had to go to the dentist today, so I haven't seen it.
It might be the first Simpsons thing I have watched from start to finish. It was only 3 minutes long.
Oh, really? I thought it was like a special episode kind of thing, but
It's like 3 minutes or something like that, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a cute little short.
oh, okay. Well, yeah. There's still time in the day to see it.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure Peter Griffin is really freaking mad.
So many voices. Clayton Christopher, thanks for the question. Do you guys think that they're traveling to Rex in the next episode? I kind of
Too
do.
soon. You think too soon? I think for Rex.
Oh, Rex in the next episode,
Mhm.
huh?
Mm.
I thought you said cut.
I think Rex will be there as well.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
he's
where
really-
Rex went to go lay low.
Yeah. I
mean,
do
if-
really want to see him again.
If this is only going to be one season, I mean, we haven't gotten a second season, and maybe if it's only expected to go one, it could possibly be next episode that we see them, where they just give us all the goods throughout 15 episodes. So it's possible.
Chris
Yeah.
says too soon.
For Rex, yeah, they should build it up. Maybe get a few episodes in. You got 16 episodes to go, or 15 now. But yeah. I would wait maybe at the halfway point, something like that. Maybe do Rex.
It does feel early.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it does feel like, they built to Ahsoka in Star Wars Rebel Season 1. I agree there. But they also put Rex in the trailer. So I'm like,
Yeah,
they're not playing overly coy with it.
true.
But it does feel early. I agree.
Radical Z, thanks for the super chat. Could the series get darker like Clone Wars as we get into season 2?
I mean, it opened with Order 66. So
Yeah, pretty dark.
Yeah, these are the dark times.
I mean, if we start to see more clones, and we talk about them getting their chips removed and like having to realize what they've done, and kind of like deal with that, that's pretty dark.
I don't know, because like we were talking about, so most of these shows, they start, I think season 1 is like pretty young. It's aimed at a pretty young audience. Rebels, Resistance, Clone Wars season 1. This one wasn't like that because I think it has a heavy audience of people who grew up watching the Clone Wars already. So I don't see it like aging up with the audience so much. I think it's probably going to stay pretty consistent. I think it'll probably be on the level of the last, 3 or 4 seasons of the Clone Wars. Madman's Knowledge, thanks for the question. Does the fact that the Kaminoan cloners in The Mandalorian are humans, not actual Kaminoans, indicate anything? I think so. Kind of like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that the bad guys are just trying to imitate what the Kaminoans did and doing a bad job at it.
Yeah,
So I wonder if the DS1 tested, the laser on Kamino, or they just went in there and wiped out all the Kaminoans and then just took over what they were doing.
That's right. Like, why? I mean, why destroy all of that tech?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they wipe out the Kaminoans and then they're like, so how does this work?
Yeah, right. What does this
press this button?
do? Yeah.
I'm gonna press this button.
You stand in that tube and I'll press this button and we'll just see what
happens.
comes out.
Yeah.
We'll find out in 15 years.
Yeah.
Crypt Keeper, thanks for the super chat. What would a Yoda arc look like?
Him sitting around.
Yeah, probably pretty boring.
Yeah.
Swamp.
Mistake I made.
Sucks,
Boring.
this place does.
Would he be like talking to Qui-Gon? It would just be a Force Ghost party on Dagobah.
A lot of communing going on. I mean, he's
He's definitely not bored. I mean, he's
got a dark side cave
Yoda's
to go mess around in. Snakes all over the place.
fine. His little hut. I love his hut.
Do you think he went into the dark side cave multiple times to see if just like what happens each time, or if it's just the same thing that happens every time?
That's actually
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or like maybe once you go in again, it's just a normal cave.
Yeah, right. Like, you only get
He's
one.
Like, you can't game the system
It's like
just because you're bored.
It's like Spider-Man from Family Guy. Everybody gets one.
Yeah. Ugo Ease, thanks for the question. Don't know if anyone has stated it, but Boba Fett officially has a long lost sister. And how would you all feel about an official Order 66 supercut? Oh my God.
Yes.
I
would love a supercut and just be depressed for like 4 days after watching it.
Yeah. If you ever need a good cry, just put on the Order 66 supercut.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know that Star Wars would like officially put something like that together and release it, but definitely something
YouTube.
fan made.
Yeah. Someone on YouTube will do it.
Which one hits you the hardest? Which Jedi death in Order 66? In Revenge of the Sith or the Clone Wars or whatever?
My first thought, this probably isn't the one that hit me the hardest, but I just felt so bad for Plo Koon. He could literally do nothing.
He was betrayed by Plo's bros.
Right?
I'm so upset about thinking about that, because Plo in the Clone Wars was like literally the first Jedi you got to see treat the clones like human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's really heartbreaking when you think about that.
I think Ki-Adi-Mundi's was pretty messed up. They were in the thick of battle. He's like, "Yeah, come on, guys.
Let's go, guys."
Wait, what are you guys doing?
It was brutal. It was definitely brutal.
Oh no.
Oh, that would be horrible. Traumatized children everywhere.
Yes,
Galaxy of Adventures. Order 66.
Super stylized.
Stephen Ray Morris, thanks for the questions. Oh, thanks for answering my first question. Love seeing movie events from different perspectives. Have they confirmed how many episodes Bad Batch is yet? I think yesterday they confirmed it was 16 episodes.
Yeah.
So 15 to go.
Okay, that's right.
Hey, Hobbit Andy, thanks for the super chat. If we see Boba, will he be eating fried chicken?
Well, Dan.
He
Possibility.
better be.
I don't know. Blue Bantha Milk better get on messaging Dave Filoni.
You should write a comic.
Right. That hurt. That hurt, Alex.
I saw your eyes drop, and I felt bad.
Right here.
Dartherian, thanks for the super chat. Says Ricker is the first Jupa fisher. I do, I wonder what's going to happen with the ATTE and all of the clones that they do go around to, because I think Dave Filoni said in Rebels, when they were first exploring having all these clones on an ATTE, he threw out like 8 names, and then they whittled it down to they were like, that's too many, and we should just have the 3 of them. But I want to know what other names were thrown around. What other clones might we now see? And I would love to see Wrecker Jupa fishing with them.
That would be awesome. I feel like he would dive in and try to handle the Jupa by
Probably a
himself.
lot easier.
Right.
A lot easier than just putting Zeb out there, I'm pretty sure.
And that is a good, to Chris's point, like, why aren't the Bad Batch on that ATTE?
Because they're working for the Empire.
I'm going to yell at you if that turns out to be true. Like, you did this.
I'm so sorry. I told you.
We got a super chat from Bradshaw's studio that is just a sunglasses emoji. Thank you for that. Erico M with another super chat. More Vader dad puns 2021. Sure, why not? Adam Maresh, thanks for the super chat. Could the Kanan retcon be unreliable narrator? He could be remembering it as more horrific than it actually was, remembering the good times before.
I'm looking right at you, Dan.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that.
Yeah. Like whisper down the lane kind of thing, where the story can change depending on who's telling it. And I'm okay with that.
And I think so. The comic had to show their camaraderie, and that's why that scene was there. But that could have taken place on a different night or something if you just make it all hazy.
Yeah.
The point was, like, we needed to see that they were friends in the story.
Kanan was drunk. He doesn't remember.
Of course he got served. Listen to his voice.
Yeah.
They didn't know any better. Yeah, I'll take a case
that
of
boy
beer.
is a smoker. He had some jet sticks.
That dude eats cigarettes.
Bradshaw Studio, thanks for your super sticker. It's a little bean dancing, and it says "cool."
Oh.
Dragonus Prime, thanks for your question. It's your boy. Out of every clone, which one are you the least ready to see emotionally devastated by the death of their Jedi? Oh, I'm dreading Wolf. Well, so it's going to be, yeah, that sucks. You're right. So Wolf will be like on board with it. And then once they get the chip out, assuming we see this in the show, and then he's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that.
I love Order 66 stories, man. I'm telling you.
They're just the best.
You just love pain.
I just love that depth that it adds to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. Wolf. It's a good one.
For the same reasons you guys were saying that, Plo Koon treated them like humans.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like, we're clones, we're expendable. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not to me is what he said. I remember something like that.
Someone in the chat said Bly is going to Red Kibble said Bly
Don't
is gonna
you
be
say
devastated.
that name
Whoa.
to me. I don't know if that was a Schmodown. I don't know if that was a Schmodown joke, but
Bly is literally dead to Alex. So
that was the question I lost my belt on. I could not remember Bly's name. So curse him.
That was Ayla. Ayla's yeah.
Evolution, yeah. LVLA, thanks for another super chat. Will we see the creation of the code word fulcrum? Ooh.
Well, they already said it in the Clone Wars season 7. They already referred to Saw Gerrera as Fulcrum,
Oh,
Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
but they'll probably. That was kind of another retcon because that was in the Ahsoka novel where Ahsoka chooses the name Fulcrum for a reason, and then it's like, okay, but wait, Saw's actually using it earlier. So if they did that, I have to imagine that's more proof, I feel, that Saw will pop back up and we will see him acting as Fulcrum. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Miranda here, thanks for the question. So do we think Tarkin's impressions of the Bad Batch will lead directly to the creation of Stormtrooper Task Force 99? Will we see them here? Chris, go
Okay,
ahead.
Chris.
yes.
I'm with him.
I totally think so.
He definitely seems taken by them.
He's quite smitten. Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. He saw how good they kill.
Hmm. Oh, he definitely smirked at it, but he smiled. He liked what he saw, but I know just as far as them taking orders and all that kind of stuff, how they or how they don't take orders sometimes. He's definitely going to want more compliant ones. That's why it probably at the end. Ooh, maybe at the end of this story, Task Force, Scar Squadron, and Bad Batch may go head to. Oh man.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh.
A younger, ready to go version that are super compliant versus, a little bit more of a seasoned,
That'll be fantastic.
thinking for themselves group. We'll see what happens.
I like that.
I like that. I'm on board for that.
The next super chat is from Batman is My Dad and says they just released the trailer for the next episode and it looks like they're going to Braca and Rex is in it. But I didn't see anything released because I saw this and I was looking for it. Unless I totally missed something, but
Taking a quick look on Star Wars League subreddit. Don't see anything. I don't see anything.
no.
If anyone knows anything about that, pop it in the chat.
Oh, someone just put up a new Order 66 mashup video and added the Depa Balaba scene.
There you go.
So quick, the internet's got
Yep.
speed force. Like
There.
it's crazy. Yeah.
There's your what do they call it? Supercut.
Yeah, there it is.
Jedi Mullet 77, thanks for your super chat, says the Yoda arc. Disneyland, this is not. Yeah, I think it'd be just a lot of sitting around, meditating. Not fun to watch.
Yeah. He's really punishing himself by going to Dagobah.
A lot of root leaf stew happening.
There's only
He's-
one thing I can make.
By the time Luke gets there, he's really perfected it and it's delicious. And Luke just is a snob when it comes to soups.
Lindsay Brown, thanks for your question. Just says Maz Kanata. Sure, she's alive.
I mean, she's one of those characters that I always bring up every time we get a new story because I'm like, yeah, she was around. Why not?
Yeah.
These
It's
are
like
in the
1,000
High
years old.
Republic era.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to just see her like as a pirate queen. Like that's what
Yeah.
we're told that's what she is, and we haven't really gotten to see it.
I want her to have been in the Jedi Order at one point, was just like, I'm out of here. She knows so much about the Force.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, if like it happened with Ty Yorick, and I can't wait to see more from that character. So yeah, that could definitely happen with
I could
Maz.
see her with Rael Averos.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Huh?
Or do you mean like with him?
You tell me.
He's into Wookiees.
That's true.
Anyone who's a poet with a blaster, she's down.
That is true. That is true.
Love that moment in The Last Jedi.
Demon Lord Illidan, thanks for another super chat. Certain point of view, Order 66, new novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd buy the audiobook right now.
Just every
A
character
lot of
dying.
screaming in the background.
Guys, this book is amazing.
They all end the same way.
Yeah.
It's all in red, the cover.
Ooh, and Clayton Christopher with the next super chat. Which member of the Bad Batch is your favorite? And I would just happen to have this shirt on, so I'll just go ahead and show it.
Oh, Tech. All right.
Tech is my favorite. I loved the way he like jumped on that training droid and like reprogrammed it and was just like.
That was pretty. It was pretty boss. I am definitely a huge fan of Hunter. I love Wrecker just because he's just this, he's kind of like a teddy bear, but not really. But Hunter is just awesome to me. I love how he just like that knife that he just comes out of nowhere. He's always ready with it.
You ready to go?
Yeah, and the hair and the head and the hair and the headband. I'm just like, this guy's cool. He's
ready to
cool
fight the Empire.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris? Wrecker?
Absolutely.
Me too. I love Wrecker.
Wrecker's
I mean, I'm a sucker for any just big, strong, kind of dumb character. to say. Like, I love him.
And he's a softie too. He's got the
yeah, he's got the stuffed what's that?
Tuca.
Mm-hmm.
What did it? Oh, it had a name, didn't it?
Lula.
Yeah.
My Lula.
Oh.
that poor boy.
I love that Omega picked it up and was like, "Really?"
I loved that when we first saw him with it, he just kept like shoving it in Crosshair's face. Like he was hugging Crosshair with it. And he was like, "Get that off of me!" And he was just like, "Bop, bop, bop." That's what you get. Alex Franco, thanks for your super chat. Just says execute Order 66 again. And Midwest Outsider, thank you for your question. Do you think they could pull Delta Squad out of Legends at some point to have a run-in with the Bad Batch or Rex? They are canon. They have been in an episode of the Clone Wars. We did talk about this a little bit earlier, and I think it would be awesome to see them go head-to-head. I want to say it's unlikely, but again, they released they're making a Funko Pop of I think it was Boss. I can't remember which one it was, but they're making a Republic Commando Funko Pop, so of Delta Squad. So maybe I think that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Batman is my dad sent in another super chat and said, "Never mind, I got punked." Oh no.
It's all right. We only have to wait until Friday. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and we have reached the final super chat, and we will call it here because it's been over 2 hours and my throat's getting sore. But Q, thank you for the final super chat. What evolution do you think each member will undergo? I think to start off with Chris and my favorite Wrecker, I think he is going to do something similar to Zeb, where he has an arc where he's like, I'm not just the muscle, like I have ideas too. He's going to prove that his value isn't just in smashing.
I like that.
Yeah. Maybe something similar with Tech, where like all of his tech gets taken away or something, and like he has to do without it.
I mean, I think we could, probably say the same for everyone. Is that like what happens when you take your strength away? Like, how do you adapt? Adapt or die.
It's like what was the youngling's name that goes into the cave with his little data pad, and then he has it like he smashes it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing Hunter's evolution already start, where it's coming down to following orders, and what is right and what is wrong. Is blindly just following this new empire's orders. Is this what I should be doing? So that's what I think what Hunter's going through already.
Crosshair, I think we'll see him grow as well. I hope. Like, I really like what we were discussing earlier, that maybe he is able to beat his chip at some point.
Yeah.
And kind of return to still angry Crosshair, but not evil Crosshair.
Right.
Yeah. I think Echo's got some stuff to deal with as far as his PTSD.
Oh yeah, we didn't even
Yeah.
really touch on that, but I liked
Yeah.
that scene.
Oh yeah, when he's like getting checked out, and
Mhm.
he kind of like freaks out for a second because he's hooked
Yeah.
up to the medical stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, man, he needs some sun.
Yeah, he doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for today's discussion. Thank you so much, Chris and Dan. Where can everyone find you online, and what have you got going on that Star Wars fans would be interested in?
Chris?
You want me to handle that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do it.
Good job. I like the way you did that. That looked great.
We worked on that. So for us this week, we've got Dan and I do Star Wars comic previews every week that Star Wars comics come out. We don't spoil the whole thing. We give you just enough to get you hyped to go to your comic shop, pick up the books. So this week starts the War of the Bounty Hunters big crossover series. It's about to go down, and so we're doing a crossover of our own, and we're having a whole bunch of different Star Wars content creators coming on and doing previews of the main issues for us. And the first one that drops tomorrow is War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha, and Alex is going to be doing the preview for that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's already edited. It looks great. I'll show it to you later.
Cool.
Yeah, so we got that. Every week, every Sunday, 9 p.m., we go live with our podcast, our live shows, Shooting the Poodoo, where we just literally shoot the poodoo. We're just flapping our gums. Yeah.
We talk about all nerd stuff. Anything that's hot right now, like Invincible on Amazon Prime. We just talked about the season finale of that. Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier, all kinds of good stuff that keeps coming out. So that's what we do on that show.
And I believe Blue Bantha Milk just announced the very next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll post it into the chat here so you can watch it when we're done. But Chris is going to be starring in the Calrissian Chronicles, written by Artificial Intelligence. I've already seen the trailer for it, and it's just the best Lando impression. I love it.
It's so good.
Is that blue wine you're drinking in that?
That is water. That is water and blue food coloring.
Well,
looks delicious.
I'll pretend it's blue wine.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, check that out.
It's Romulan ale.
There you go. That's illegal, Chris.
Crossing over, yeah.
Check that out, and I put links into the description for everything for Broaxium. So go give them a follow and a subscribe and all that good stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Molly, anything you want to plug?
We'll be doing this again on Friday. Just big thank you to everyone who's sent in their super chats and sent questions in. We're very excited to be doing this again. And we've got lots of content coming up in the next couple of weeks. So very excited for that. And if you're Schmodown fans, I don't know if we're going to be going live on certain point of view Friday after the match or not. We were kind of discussing it, but check out the pay-per-view match on Friday.
Because I'm in it again. 2 pay-per-view matches in a row, 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, we'll be back live doing this show, The Clone Zone, on Friday, and our guests will be Kessel Run Transmissions. So we will be talking about episode 2 with them. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching and hanging out. Again, thank you for your super chats, and may the force be with you.